Hello guys, how are you today? Welcome to my class. What we are going to study today is all about drafting. Ayan, what is drafting guys? Drafting is defined as the process of making drawings to communicate ideas to others. Ayan. When it comes in drafting guys, when we are making a drawing, no, we are expressing our ideas, our feelings, our emotions. No, sa pamamagitan kasi ng pagdodrawing na ipapahayag natin, na ipaparating natin kung ano yung gusto nating sabihin, kung ano yung gusto nating iparating. Alright? Ano nga ba yung drafting guys? Drafting or drawing is the act and discipline of composing drawings that visually communicate how something functions or constructed. Drafting, otherwise known as technical drawing. Ayan, it is the creation of accurate representations of objects, buildings, or houses for technical, architectural, or engineering purposes. Guys, yung drafting, ito yung isang proseso na kung saan ipinapakita kung papaano na itayo, kung papaano nagawa, o kung papaano nabuo yung isang bagay, yung isang gusali, o isang bahay. Okay? Alright? Objects are drawn to scale and usually comprise to a top view, a front view, and side view of objects or building. Ipinapakita dito yung bawat perspective, no, ng isang drawing. Yung harapan, yung itaas, at yung sa side. Alright? Drafting or technical drawing is essential for communicating ideas in industry and engineering, guys. To make the drawings easier to understand, people use familiar symbols, units of measurement, visual styles, and page layout. Ayan, para maipahayag mo or maipakita mo yung magiging kabuuan, yung kalalabasan ng iyong drawing para mas maintindihan nila yon. Siyempre, maglalagay ka ng symbol para mas maintindihan nila lalo yon, ng measurement. Okay? Lalagay mo yung measurement ng bawat part ng drawing mo nang sa ganon, maintindihan nila lalo. Alright? We cannot start the drawing process, no, without knowing the tools and instruments used in drafting. Ayan. Tools and instruments. The basic of drafting is to understand first the tools and instruments with its uses. Siyempre, para makapag-drawing tayo na maganda at maayos, kailangan muna nating alamin, kilalanin, pag-aralan yung tamang paggamit ng mga tools and instruments when it comes in drafting. Because drawing cannot be obtained without the presence of drawing instruments. Ayan, hindi tayo makakapag-drawing kung hindi natin alam kung paano gamitin itong mga to. Alright? Each tools and instruments have their own functions and uses in completing a drawing. Meron silang kanya-kanyang gamit. Meron silang kanya-kanyang pakinabang, no? Drafting tools may be used for measurement and layout of drawings or to improve the consistency and speed of creation of drawing elements. Ayan, ipinapakita dito na dapat nating matutunan yung mga paggamit sa tools and instruments nang sa ganon, makapaggawa tayo or makapag-drawing tayo na maganda at maayos. Ayan. The first one, pencils are considered the most important tool of a draftsman. A draftsman is a person who draws plans for architect and engineering. Ayan. Pencils are one of the most important tool when it comes in drafting, no? Why? Because you cannot start your drawing without pencil. Ay, hindi tayo makakapag-umpisa, hindi tayo makakapag-drawing kung wala tayong pencil, kung wala tayong lapis. Alright? Pencil is used to draw on the paper, right? Any kind of or any type of pencils not suitable for drawing. Bakit kaya? There are some limitations, guys. Kaya kung makikita nyo, meron silang kanya-kanyang grade. Because pencils are made of different grades. Ayan, merong dull, merong very dull, merong light, merong very light. Depende doon sa kung ano yung idodrawing mo. Ayan, merong iba't ibang klase ng lapis na pwede mong gamitin. Ayan. Ayan. Drawing pencils are made in different grades. First one is hard. Ayan. Hard pencils are used in sketching and construction lines. And next, medium pencils are used in drawing edges or visible edges of objects and mechanical drawings. Ayan. Soft pencils are used in freehand drawings. Ayan yung pinagkaiba ng tatlong yan. Alright. Next. Triangles. Triangles made of celluloid, plastic, transparent material, and calibrated accordingly. And triangles are used in combination with the T-square, ayan, or straight edge to draw vertical or inclined lines. And it's usually made of transparent plastic, which allows you to see your work underneath the triangle. Napakagandang gamitin to kahit nagguguhit ka, no? Kahit nagdo-drawing ka, makikita mo pa rin yung gawa mo kasi transparent yan. And it's also used to draw accurate parallel lines, vertical lines, and other angled lines. Ayan, that's the use of triangles. Next. And T-square. It is used to draw horizontal lines and serves as a base for triangles when drawing other kinds of lines. And T-square is a technical drawing instrument used by draftsmen, primarily used as a guide for drawing horizontal lines on a drafting table. Ayan, it may also guide a set square, no, to draw vertical or diagonal lines. Ayan. Its name comes from its resemblance to the letter T. And it's made of wood or plastic or combination of both. Ayan, kung makikita nyo. Alright. Next. French curve or French curves. It is a tool used for irregular curve lines. Ayan, French curves are usually made of metal or steel, wood, and plastic, composed of different curves and irregular shapes. Ayan, kung makikita nyo. Sometimes, the drawing requires irregular curve, shape, or arc, no? Which cannot be drawn using compass. In that case, no, French curves are suitable. Meron kasi kapag nagdo-drawing tayo, merong mga irregular curves or shapes na kinakailangan nating i-drawing. Ayan. Mas magandang gamitin dyan yung French curve. Ayan. Next. Compass. An instrument used for drawing circles and arcs. The main purpose of compass is to draw arcs and circles with known dimensions on engineering drawing and composed of two legs. Ayan, kung makikita nyo. One leg contains needles at the bottom. Ayan, kung makikita nyo, no? And the other leg contains a ring in which a pencil is placed. Ayan, kung makikita nyo. Next. Ayan, divider. Next. An instrument used for transferring measurements. Ayan, divider, it looks like a compass, right, guys? Makikita nyo, no? But the difference is the two legs of dividers are provided with needles. Ayan, it's used for transferring measurements, dividing lines, and arcs into the desired number of equal parts. Ayan, it can easily transfer accurate measurements by adjusting the divider points. Ayan, ipapakita ko sa inyo kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng divider sa compass, kung paano sila gamitin. Ayan.
You may be already familiar with this grid method that a lot of people use, like this. The problem with this is you end up with a lot of these vertical and horizontal lines all over on your paper, which can be very difficult to remove, and it's very tedious to put down in the first place. My favorite method for getting proportions down when working from a photograph is a variation on this grid method. Diagonals. The other thing I use with this is a compass. Most people are used to using these for drawing circles. That's mostly what they're used for. But it makes an excellent measuring tool. This particular compass comes with a little pencil, but you can also take this pencil out and put in other pencils that might be more appropriate for your drawing. This is the layout pencil that comes in my kit. When you're trading pencils out, make sure that the point and the end of your pencil is even. In this video is a proportional divider. This is also available on my website now. This is a really handy device. I use it just like the compass, except you can enlarge with this instead of drawing the same size as your reference photo. You change the distance between the points by taking out the centerpiece and moving it to a different hole. Slip this back in here, and you can see the distance between the points on this end is much smaller than the other end. You'll take measurements from your photograph, turn it around, mark those points on your drawing paper to enlarge it. Again, it's very easy to change. You can adjust it to where it's just a ratio of 1 to 1, so it ends up being just like the compass. You can order these on my website as well in my bonus package with my pencil kit from the link below. So the first thing I'll demonstrate here is that grid method, if you're not familiar with it, and show you some of the advantages and drawbacks with using it. It's basically a lot of little squares or a grid pattern all over on your reference photograph. And I'll show you really quickly here what this is all about and give you several other different ways to get your proportions down that I feel are much better. A lot of people number and letter them so you don't get mixed up on which square is which. You can just use a ruler to draw these squares. These are half-inch squares. It's best. So after you have this pattern on your photograph, the next thing you do is put the same number of squares or the same grid on your drawing paper. So I'll just show you a little bit how this works here. Let's say I want to figure out the side of his head over here. So I look over there at the number 4 and look at where it crosses that square. My modified grid pattern will have just 8. So we have to start off by putting this pattern on the photograph. First thing you want to do is crop your photograph very, very closely to your subject, so the edges come in contact with some of the key parts of your subject. The middle. I want another line right down the middle there, so I'll do that from top to bottom. Now that I have the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines in there, I want to transfer those onto my drawing paper. So I'm just drawing around the outside of the photograph using either my F graphite pencil or a layout pencil. And then by doing the same thing I did on the photograph, I'm going to put all of those lines very lightly right on my drawing paper. The next thing I want to do is line up this photograph with the lines on the paper. So it's right next to these diagonal and vertical lines here. And then I'm going to get a compass. It has a pencil on one end, so it can make a little dot once I get some measurements down there. It can really speed things up quite a bit for taking accurate measurements. So let's just start off on the side here. I can find out where the edge of his head is there on the right. And down here on his chin, how far up his chin is. Just make a little landmark right there with the pencil. You can double check these from any other reference mark you have on the photograph. Measuring from the center, I can see that that mark was correct. Now I want to put the detailed proportions in there as well. So I want to get the basic outline of this eye on the left here. So I'm just going to take a measurement from the center axis down to the edge of his tear duct here. I get that. I'll make a little dot on my paper and I'll know that's right where that tear duct is. I can use the diagonal lines to figure out how far down his eyelid is. And once you have your reference marks all around there, then you can start drawing. Or you can actually do reference marks and draw as you go. It doesn't really matter how you use this, but it really can help get your drawing down there much more accurately without putting lots of grid lines all over your paper. Now, since you do have some of these lines, put them on lightly so you can erase them later. So I just use my kneaded eraser and I can back out these lines. So once I start shading, those won't show up through the shading on my portrait. So this is a great technique when you're using a reference photograph that's the same size as your drawing.
All right, next,
Now also
eraser, an instrument used for rubbing off drawn mistake. Ayan. The main purpose of eraser is to remove spots or lines drawn by mistake or with wrong measurements. Ayan. The eraser used should be of good quality and soft. Dapat kapag gagamit tayo ng eraser, dapat yung maganda yung quality. Kasi merong eraser na kung saan pangit gamitin. No? It should not damage the paper while erasing. Kasi kapag minsan, nagbubura tayo, no? Lalo na kapag pangit yung gamit nating eraser, pwedeng mabakbak yung papel natin, pwedeng mapunit, something like that. Kaya kapag gagamit tayo ng eraser, dapat yung maganda yung quality. Ayan. Next. Next, protractor is a tool used for accurate angle measurements. The main purpose of protractor is to draw and measure the angles of lines in the drawing. And as you can see, guys, it's a transparent and made of plastic. It's also used to determine the gradations of the degrees when measuring the arcs, circles, and angles. Ayan. Ito yung kadalasan natin ginagamit, no? Next. Ayan, drawing board. Next is an inclines, flat, and smooth surface. Its sides are angled 90 degrees, and this is where the drawing paper is fastened. Ayan, as you can see, it's generally made of wood, and it's in rectangular in shape. Ayan, the main purpose of drawing board is to support the drawing sheet. Ayan, dito ka magdo-drawing. Ito yung gagamitin mo lang. So, ganon, comfortable ka kapag nag-drawing ka. Alright? Next. Pens. Ayan, traditional and typical pens used for technical drawing are pencils and technical pens. And pens are specialized instruments used by an engineer, architect, or draftsman to make lines, no, with constant width for architectural, technical, and engineering purposes. Kaya kung makikita nyo, meron ding iba't ibang klase ng pens. Depende dun sa idodrawing mo. Kung ano mang bagay yung idodrawing mo. Alright? Next. Drafting tape. Drafting tape, it's used for fastening the drawing paper on the drawing board. Ayan. The main purpose of the drafting tape is to help the paper well positioned, no, and ensure no residue is left behind. Ayan, it's used to fasten the drawing paper on the drawing board or drawing table. Ayan, so that it does not move, no, para hindi siya gumagalaw kapag nagdo-drawing ka. Ayan, malaking tulong din yan, yung drafting tape. Next. Alright, next, ruler is usually made of polystyrene. It is used for drawing lines and connecting points. Ayan. The main purpose of ruler, guys, is to draw straight lines. Ayan. In measurement, no? And setting of dimensions. Ayan. And usually expressed in centimeters and inches. Ayan. Kung makikita nyo, ito yung kadalasan natin ginagamit kapag nag-drawing tayo ng mga straight lines. Kapag gumagawa tayo ng mga straight lines. Ayan. Next. Erasing shield. Made of thin metal with different shape of holes for erasing certain part of unwanted lines in a drawing. Ayan. Erasing shield is a thin sheet of stainless steel or plastic with holes and slots with different shapes. Ayan, kung makikita nyo. It is used to remove lines and text, no? And it protects the rest of the drawing when making an erasure. Kaya kung makikita nyo, meron siyang iba't ibang butas, iba't ibang shape, no? Na kung saan ito yung gagamitin nyo para burahin yung unwanted part. Na kung saan para hindi mabura lahat yung drawing mo. Ayan, napaka-useful niyang erasing shield na yan. Alright? Next. Do's and don'ts in drawing. Ito yung mga bagay na kinakailangan natin gawin at mga hindi dapat gawin kapag tayo'y nagdo-drawing. Ayan. The first one, wipe the top of your drawing board before starting to work. Why? So that it does not get dirty or messy when you draw, no? So that you are comfortable when you are working. Nang sa ganon, malinis yung ating table kapag tayo magdo-drawing. Kasi kapag marumi yun, there's a possibility na pwede rin madumihan yung gawa natin. At syempre, komportable tayo kapag tayo mag-drawing. Ayan. Number 2, check and clean your tools before and after using them. Ayan. So that you know if the tools and instruments you will use are complete. Ayan. Nang sa ganon, alam natin kung kumpleto ba yung gagamit natin mga tools and instruments when it comes in making a drawing, no? At syempre, dapat nililinisan din natin yung mga yan. Alright? Ayan, number 3, keep your pencil point sharp at all times. Ayan, pencil should be sharpened whenever they show sign of dullness. Kasi mas magandang gamitin yung yung lapis kapag bagong tasa siya. Ayan, kapag malabo na siya, no? Kapag pudpud na siya, dapat na siyang tasahin. Ayan. Use tools only for the purpose they are made. Ayan. Each tools, no, has been designed to accomplish a certain or specific job. Therefore, use tools only for the purpose they are made so that you can finish your work properly and easily. Ayan. Store your tools in a dry, clean, and safe place. Kapag katapos mo na siyang gamitin, put them, no, in the right place or in the right container so that it does not get lost or break, no, and so that you can easily find them when you need them again. All right. Next, number 6, do not use the edge of the T-square and triangles as guide in cutting paper. Why? Because there's a possibility it will not be fixed or accurate when it is cut. And kasi kapag na-cut yun, may chance na hindi siya tuwid, hindi siya maayos. Kaya mas magandang gumamit ka na lang ng scissor and gunting. Alright, number 7, do not sharpen your pencil on top of your workplace. Bakit? Because the dirt of the sharpened pencil, no, will spread to your work. And there's a possibility or there's a chance that you will repeat your work kasi madumi na yon, no? Kapag nagtasa ka dun sa ibabaw ng kung saan ka nagdo-drawing, pwedeng madumihan yon. May chance na pwede mong ulitin yung gawa mo. Diba? Kapag magtatasa tayo dun sa lugar na or dun sa basurahan. Para nang sa ganon, hindi madumihan yung ating gawa. Alright? Number 8, do not bite the lid of your pencil. Guys, always remember, do not bite the lid or the tip of your pencil because there's a chance that it might break or you can no longer use it, no? Huwag nating kagatin. Ang ugali kasi natin, kinakagat natin yung dulo or yung mismong lapis natin. Huwag nating kagatin kasi may possibility na masira yon at hindi na natin siya magamit. Alright, number 9, do not drop the compass and pen and divider. Guys, do not allow your tools and instruments to get bent or dropped because you will never be retrieved when it is damaged. Ay hindi mo na siya maibabalik kapag nasira na siya. Kaya kailangan ingatan natin sila at ilagay natin sila sa tamang lagayan. Alright? Next. Do not erase on surfaces and spaces without mistakes. Okay? Do not erase it, guys. Especially if your eraser is not in good quality. No? The result will be ugly or messy. Kapag wala namang dapat burahin, huwag nating buburahin. Kasi may chance na kapag binura natin yon, mas lalo pa siyang maging madumi. Lalo na yung gamit nating eraser, pangit. Alright? Next. Okay guys, that's all for today. Thank you for listening and I hope you have learned a lot. Ayan. Thank you guys. God bless you all.